And I didn't have anybody to talk to about it. Because when you're on the streets, you don't talk to people about your problems and your pain because nobody wants to hear it. Because the only thing they're thinking about is getting their next high as well. I felt like I had nothing to lose after that, so I spent the next 10 years on the streets prostituting, smoking crack cocaine, being abused by men out there, in and out of jail, being raped, and facing death a couple of times. I remember one time I was picked up by a car and it was very late at night. I'd say it was like 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and this man had promised me money for drugs, or money for sex, sorry. And when we parked, I got into the back seat and took off my clothes. He handed me some money and I put it in my pants pocket. He got on me and started to do his thing. Then all at once, he grabbed a hold of my neck and he tried to break my neck. And I was so strung out and I was so skinny from being hooked on drugs that I flipped over onto my back. And I ended up facing him, looking at him dead in his face, and I told him, listen, you can do anything you want to do to me, just don't kill me. And I knew at that point that something really had to be wrong with me. So I begged him to finish doing what he was doing, and he did. And then he kicked me out of this car. He kept all of my clothes, and I was completely bare. I was naked, and I was running down Arctic Boulevard, and I had nowhere to go. I had no one to reach out to. Nobody would let me in. I was knocking on doors. So I found a garbage bag, and I emptied it out, and I put it on, and I went to the local crack house, the nearest crack house, and they let me in. And so shortly after that, then I went back to jail and decided to get my life together. I started attending church and even became a member of the choir in Highland Mountain Correctional Center. I needed to grasp onto something. I needed to find a different way than the way that I was living. And I knew there had to be a reason that I was here, because that night I begged him to save my life. And so I knew that there had to be a reason why I wanted to live. And so I desperately wanted to find a different way. So I was watching this lady while I was in Highland Mountain. She was reading her Bible and she was praying, and I was curious and didn't know what it was about. I mean, I grew up in a family where religion was always a thing in my family, but like I've been every religion that you could possibly be. My mother was a Buddhist, she was a Jehovah's Witness, she was anything and everything, and so there was a constant religion in my family, but I didn't know who God was. I just knew that there was religion, and I was really confused about it, so I really didn't get into it. I didn't know anything about it, and pretty much really didn't care. But I saw this lady, and she was going through this really hard time in her life, and she was facing a lot of time in jail, but she seemed happy. She was reading her Bible, and she was praying, and she was doing all these things. And so I'd ask her, would you pray for me? And she'd say, why don't you come over here and pray with me? I'd say, no. And I would go off, and then I'd come back, and I'd say, I'd really like if you pray for me. And she'd say, well, let's sit down and pray together. And I'd say, no, and I'd go off. And one morning she came to my room and she said, I want you to read Ephesians 6, 10 through 20. And she said, you read that every morning. And so every morning I would read the full armor of God. And then I started the Bible. And so I got into church, and then I started singing in the choir, and things started feeling different inside. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but it was like I still had pain and I still had misery, but there was hope. Like, I wanted to change, because before then, I had gotten to a point where I said, this is my life. I'm a crackhead. I'm a prostitute, and now this is the way I want to be. Excuse me for listen, but this is what I had said to myself. This is who I am. This is what I'm going to be. And at one point, I even said, if I'm going to die of this, I'm going to die happy, because I'm going to be high. And after that, I didn't feel that way anymore. I wanted to change, and I wanted something new and something different. So I got baptized and in Highland Mountain, and I gave my life over to God. And I started attending church, and then my release date came up, and I had nowhere to go. I had no one to pick me up. I was completely lost. So the only thing that I knew what to do was go to church. And I went to the church, and I was totally, how do I say it, forgotten. Like, I wasn't even remembered. And this was the church I was trying to attend when I was out in Highland Mountain. They would come out. So I went to their church. I tried to reach out, but it was like they had forgotten who I was. So I felt like if they could forget me that quickly, then, oh well. And so I went back to the streets once again, and I became very addicted to cocaine. So after that, I became pregnant once again, and with my 4th child, and I was living on the streets, addicted to crack cocaine and prostituting for my whole entire pregnancy. She ended up being born 3 months early, and she was born cocaine positive, and she was taken from me at birth, and her name is Keontae. And back in jail I was once again right after that, trying to get to know God again. So I'm confused, and I'm fighting this demon, and I have this demon on one shoulder, and I have, like, my angel me on the other shoulder, kind of. It's really weird. Like, sometimes you see a cartoon, and they got the devil on the side and the angel. I literally felt that way when I was in jail. Or one part of me was like, well, you know what, when you get out, there's nowhere for you to go. There's no one for you to reach out to, so why even bother? Then there was one over here that was telling me, you know, Heather, you already started to know God, and you know what it feels like to know Him. You've already lost all this in your life. Why do you want to keep putting yourself through that? So I had a constant battle back and forth in my mind. Thinking that maybe it was going to be because I was doing something wrong when I got out. I don't know. So when I got out, I started smoking crack and running the streets again. The devil won once again. And I was living with my friend, but kept taking off on her, and not even she could help me. She opened up her doors to me. She took me in. She told me what a positive person I was, and that I had potential, and that I was smart, and I was funny, and that I could do anything I wanted with my life. And she put clothes on my back, and she put food in my stomach, and I thought she was equal just like everybody else.